Michael Jordan, before he got Scottie Pippen, never won a playoff series. Got swept by the Big Three in Boston. You keep talking about how great he was, but how great was he without Scottie Pippen?
What the media does not want you to know about Michael Jordan. Because here are some facts. Before Scottie Pippen got there, a total and complete loser.
Michael Jordan was 1-9 without Pippen. We don't hold it against him.
When it comes to the best MVPs of all time, there's tons of guys who have phenomenal campaigns that are definitely noteworthy. Whether it be Steph in 2016, Bird in the mid-80s, even Wilt Chamberlain in the 1960s. All those guys in varying degrees have phenomenal MVP campaigns. But if you ask the majority of NBA fans, people who are teenagers, 40 years old, even fans pushing 70, the answer you're probably going to get is that Michael Jordan 88 is the best MVP to ever lace them up. As looking at Jordan that year, 35 points per game, 6 dimes, 54% shooting. For his Bulls team, leader in points, assists, steals, as well as blocks. And Jordan that year, 40 minutes per game and played all 82 games. And on top of that, was playing both ends of the floor, offense as well as defense.
I don't think there's any flaw in this guy's game. He's the best defensive player in the league, in my opinion. He's the best competitor in the league, in my opinion. He's by far the best offensive player, in my opinion. He's the best clutch player in the game. He's got the whole package.
Michael was, they're always trying to say, who's the next Michael Jordan? And they only look at offense. Michael Jordan was the best defensive player who played during our era. And that's what separated him.
We didn't have the type of stamina, the type of energy level that Michael seems to possess every single night, whether he's playing against the worst team in the league or the best team in the league. He has an energy level that's unmatched by any other player or any other athlete that I've seen in professional sports.
And he goes, okay, and we're going to run 21, but if Michael's on the left side, we're going to run, and he'd go down each play and say where Michael was, and we're going to run it on a different side. That's the impact defensively had. Did they do that? I don't know.
Absolutely.
88 Jordan debatably was the best offensive player as well as defensive player. And that combo of great scorer and defender, that's a rarity in league history. As looking at history, only twice a player ever averaged 35 points per game and made an all-defensive team. Of course, 88 Jordan, but also 06 Kobe. And when it comes to great scorers, people like Durant, Melo, Steph, Harden, I mean, those guys, they're phenomenal scorers. But primarily, they're offensive players, and defense, not really their forte. And for a 2024 comparison to show how impressive MJ was in 88, this past year's leading scorer is Luka Doncic at 33.9 points per game. Jordan 88 averaged 35, a full point higher than Luka. Now, the defensive end, Wembanyama this year, second defensive plus minus at 3.3. Jordan 88, nearly a full point higher in defensive plus minus.
Most impressive.
My overall point is pretty simple. The combination of great score, great volume score, paired with great defense is a rarity in NBA history. And looking at 88 Jordan, much like 06 Kobe, carrying a subpar roster into the postseason. As looking at the 88 Bulls, unlike the 87 Bulls, they weren't nearly as bad. As of course in 88, they got Pippen as well as Grant in that year's draft. Now Pippen and Grant, what they would go on to be, are all-star players, great supporting players. Pippen and Grant 88, while they were pretty decent players, they're not really noteworthy players in 88. As Pippen this year would start a grand total of 0 games, where Horace only managed 6. I'm not trying to downplay those players as rookies, but it wasn't prime Grant, prime Pippen immediately off the bat. And also for the 88 Bulls, a big-time addition was Sam Vincent mid-season. And Sam Vincent, I mean, not going to blow your mind or anything, but a competent point guard who could pass, could run an offense, and just was a solid player. For guys like Sam Vincent, Horace Grant, Scottie Pippen in 1988, what they gave Michael Jordan was much needed relief. Were they phenomenal help? No, not really. Were they solid, decent help? I would say so.
Logical.
Now, looking ahead to the NBA playoffs, the 50-win Bulls team, they were the 3 seed and matched up versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, who of course were the 6 seed. Now this Cavaliers team at 88, they only won 42 games, but that record a tad bit deceiving, as the Cavaliers, much like Chicago, had made a midseason trade and picked up some vital pieces, one of those being Larry Nance, but also Mike Sanders. And the Cavs post that Nance trade, their start post trade, was pretty abysmal, going 3-12, but eventually found their way and finished up 11-2 and were on fire down the home stretch. And looking at their roster in general, I mean, not the marks of a 42-win team and an average team. You had Mark Price, only 23. Brad Daugherty, 22, was an all-star, kind of the prelude to Tim Duncan. You had Del Curry, Hot Rod Williams, Ron Harper, as well as Craig Elo, and of course, Mike Sanders. This Cavs team, despite the massive trade, they ranked second in defense, only behind the Bulls, and followed by Detroit.
Okay, that sounds pretty good.
Now, Game 1 in Chicago for the Bulls franchise, it was a massive deal. The Bulls hadn't won a Game 1 at home since 1981. And we're looking at a 5-game series. Winning Game 1, I mean, it's a very important game and vital to the series. As looking at teams up to that point, only 5 of the teams ever who lost Game 1 had actually won this series. That win rate is roughly 85% if you snag Game 1. So of course, this Game 1 for Jordan and the Bulls, tons of pressure, playing at home. But of course, Jordan, typical Jordan fashion before the series started, made some pretty bold predictions about the Bulls, winning in no less than 4 games.
You got some balls, my friend.
So looking at Game 1 in Chicago, the start for the Bulls team, as we come to see, lethargic, slow, and just disinterested. After one, the Bulls, down by double digits, in a massive hole. Now, Jordan, the second quarter, kind of bailed them out, scoring 18 points, nearly beating the Cavs himself, only had 19. For MJ standards of the first half, he was pretty much typical MJ. 29 points, of course a game high, and the rest of the Bulls team only had 24. So skipping ahead ever so slightly to the fourth quarter, the Bulls end this quarter down by 3 points, basically anybody's ball game. And Jordan the fourth quarter was downright phenomenal. 13 points, 1 assist, 4-8 shooting, perfect from the line. Typical MJ fourth quarter performance. But looking at the actual details of this game, the numbers don't really do it justice. As looking at early in the fourth quarter, Scottie Pippen, he got in a technical foul, as well as fourth foul for the game. Scottie after that would not return and was benched. That's a big time moment. Now a couple minutes later, an even bigger moment, Jordan fast break catches the ball, goes up, then falls to the ground and appears to be hurt.
Hits the deck, went up, got hit, and now when he came down, there he goes, and now the knee grabs the side of it. Now I don't know, I couldn't see where any contact came, whether he just landed funny. It didn't seem to happen while he was in the air, but whatever happened, it hurts a lot. Now it could very well be that he cramped. He's been very tired. Take another look at him going down, because when you get a cramp, it really makes you hurt and you'll hit the deck.
And the entire Bulls crowd right here, I mean, just stunned in awe, looking at their franchise, their future on the ground, holding his knee. I'm sure David Stern at this moment was gasping for air, praying Jordan wasn't hurt severely. Now, what Jordan's injury actually was, reports say a strained calf, maybe a cramp, not entirely clear. But Jordan, of course, he was banged up, hobbled in this game. And here's the big part about MJ. Yes, he'd go to the bench, sit down for a second, but after that, immediately came back in, shot free throws, and finished the game, closing Cleveland out with 8 more points.
When you're sick, you play better than anybody in the NBA when they're healthy.
That's a good question. When I go out to play, especially when I'm sick or I'm hurt, I try not to think about the injury or my sickness. I try to think about the job that I have to do. And sometimes that helps my concentration level. And I play a lot better. I don't know why. I wish I could be sick every day.
That's a good question, because you got this back thing and you were 18 for 25 from the field the other night.
I know, and I'm in pain today.
So is Cleveland.
According to Michael Jordan, as well as his father, when MJ got hurt, banged up, wasn't healthy, that sometimes was the best thing for him, as in these moments, somehow or another, would rise to the occasion and come through like no player since or before him. And like I said earlier, in a 5-game series, Game 1 is crucial, if not a must-win for the home team. So Jordan this game sat out, went to the locker room, just said, I can't go back in. Bulls lose this game and possibly going to lose this series. And I want to make one note very quickly. Jordan this game, yes, scored 50 points. For the crowd who says Pippen saved Jordan off the bat, Jordan 50. Pippen this game, 0 points, 0 of 5 shooting, had 4 fouls. Again, Jordan 50, Scottie 0. Now speaking of 50, the guy MJ torched in Game 1 was Craig Ehlo, not Ron Harper. Ron Harper in Game 1 was out with an injury. And Jordan saying that kind of trolled Harper, saying Ehlo was a better defender, the tougher matchup.
Figure about Harper, just didn't have the shooting touch. You know, he and Jordan got into a bit of the war of the words in the newspaper, and Jordan said that Ehlo was a better defensive player than Harper, and Harper said, is that so? He never got 50 off me.
A few moments later.
But here this afternoon, Jordan scored 53.
It's gotta hurt.
Ron Harper, the individual player pre his injuries, was a phenomenal player, a great defender, underrated defender. But him poking the bear that was Michael Jordan, not the smartest thing to do. As Michael Jordan, possibly the only player in league history who could score 50, trash talk someone, then drop 55.
He was special.
And looking at Game 2 more in depth, compared to Game 1, nearly identical. The Bulls start extremely slow, lethargic, they weren't ready. The second, third quarter, chipping away, clawing away at that lead, to in the fourth quarter, it was anyone's ballgame. The Bulls' strategy at this point was survive the first 3 quarters, get to the fourth quarter, then let 23 take over. And in Game 2, the exact same story. MJ in the fourth quarter, 16 points, 1 assist, 5-11 shooting, perfect from the line.
Really had a great deal of experience playing with in North Carolina.
Jordan's turn, wrap around, 51-20. Price steps up, and Williams runs it down. Cavaliers keep it alive, and Price jacks the 3. Cavaliers.
Both ball clubs. But of course,
Screen for Jordan, and he hammers it in. 53 now. Price off the dribble, short on the shot, rebound by Jordan
into the defense, but great defense by Chicago, particularly Jordan with the rebound.
Jordan, no foul. Williams with the rebound in 32 seconds. Into Harper's hands now. They trail it by 1. Harper to the glass, not there. Vincent over to Jordan.
A company named 50-50, right? Nothing but class.
This is a big free throw. This will alter it for Cleveland. The Cavs looking for the tie with time running down. They go inside to Doherty. Couldn't hit it. He gets it back. No foul on the inside. And now,
in addition to hurting his back, that should do it.
Michael Jordan Game 2 versus the Cavaliers not only had a big quarter, not only scored 55 points, but compared to his Bulls team, outscored them by himself 55-51. The only other player I know who's done that in a playoff game was Jordan himself in '98 in Game 6 versus Utah. And if you're keeping track right now, Jordan the first 2 ball games had a total of 105 points. The Bulls team total, outside of Jordan, also 105. And the quote-unquote MJ savior Scottie Pippen, only 8 points in 2 ball games. At this point in Jordan's career, he had 2 of the 5 highest-scoring games in playoff history, and was the first player ever with back-to-back 50-point games. Since Jordan's time period, only 2 players ever have duplicated that feat, that being Jamal Murray in 2020, as well as Mitchell in 2020 in the exact same series. And I think it is pretty important to note, after these first 2 games, Doug Collins, yes, he'll take the wins, but it's not how he wanted to win, the ideal way to win, with Jordan carrying the team in the fourth quarter and carrying them all game.
Well, Rick, I think the one thing I've told our players is if they're going to really make a commitment to stopping Michael, that someone's going to have to step forward and pick up some offense. You know, he has 105 or 210 points in this series, so somebody's going to have to step forward and make some shots for us tonight if they're going to try to really key and stop Michael.
Now, looking at Game 3 in Cleveland, once again, Ron Harper and Craig Ehlo had the assignment of Jordan. And of course, Game 1 and Game 2, those guys both got torched. So in Game 3, the game plan was pretty simple. Just shadow Jordan, follow him everywhere. Forget about Vincent, Corzine, Oakley. Forget about everyone. Just stop Michael Jordan, which in turn will stop the Bulls.
Well, obviously there is no way to totally shut down Michael Jordan, but Lenny Wilkens certainly has to be thinking about some ways to slow him down a little bit.
Well, he certainly has a few things in store for him. First of all, he would like to be a little bit more physical with him. This is something that he thinks they have not been doing. They have to do a better job of defending him coming off of the screens. He's been getting wide open. They need to get some weak side help when he does drive. They've been late getting there. Now here's the difference as we see as Price comes over to help him, forces him to kick it out. That's the guy you want to have shoot it, even though he might make it. I'd rather have Sam Vincent shooting it than Michael Jordan.
I mean, the Cavaliers defense right there, that's about as good a job you can do on 88 Jordan. Now, MJ in Game 3 still had 38 points and 9 dimes. That kind of just comes the territory. But you'll take that 38 points, 9 dimes, or 55 points, and him doing everything for the offense and leading to the wins. And looking at Game 4 once again in Cleveland, the exact same strategy to stop Jordan. And this Cavaliers team at home, I mean, they were a phenomenal home team. They'd won 8 in a row at this point, 15-17, and were just simply unbeatable on their home court in the Coliseum. And looking at MJ's playoff career at this point, in road playoff games, he was a staggering 0-7. And this game would make it 0-8, despite 44 points on 70% shooting. And the Cavs defense late in the game stopping Jordan, I mean, Ron Harper, a phenomenal job, and a crucial block on MJ that changed the game and quite possibly the series.
Stops, turns, hands to Jordan. Down to 1:05 to go. Jordan to the line, Jordan to the lane, the 12-footer blocked by Harper. Goes to Jordan. Jordan right side against Harper. Jordan right of the lane, double pump of the foul. As Jordan went up, Harper banged him for the foul. Still going to have to give the ball back to the Bulls. Jordan's free throw is good to avoid at least a tie. Jordan again. Up, good. Nance with 10 on the shot clock, turns at the line, double pump, right side, Sanders. Sanders to the line, throws it up, in! Sanders scores! Pippen, he looks, he deals to Corzine, and Harper stole the ball! Harper took it away!
Game 4 in Cleveland, that was a gut-wrenching loss to the Bulls, as was Jordan. And all that confidence being up 2-0 had essentially vanished. And going to Game 5, all the pressure, of course, was on the Bulls, as was Jordan. If Jordan lost Game 5, he would have lost in the first round as an MVP, only the second player ever to do that up to this point in the NBA. Also, blowing a 2-0 lead in a 5-game series up to this point had only been done twice. If Jordan's Bulls joined that list, I mean, it would be devastating. And speaking of devastating, the first quarter of Game 5, I mean, it looked over. Cavaliers up by 18 points, and Jordan the first quarter, 4 points to his 6 shooting.
It's over. We are screwed.
After that abysmal first quarter, of course, it was not over. And looking at the rest of the game, there's kind of 3 major turning points in the game that swung it back to the Bulls. The first big swing was Jordan's second quarter, scoring a game-high 12 points, taking the lead from 18 down to 5 points. So now it's manageable. Jordan got them out of the hole. The second big turning point involves Scottie Pippen, who in this game got his first start as a rookie.
I'm proud of you, you know that. I hope you do.
Pippen in the third quarter, closed the third quarter, had phenomenal defense without MJ on the floor. The Bulls, prior to these 2 big plays, they were down 1 point. After these plays, momentum completely changed and the Bulls were finally on top, up by 3 points. Those plays from Pippen, as was the Bulls' defense, you wouldn't find that in 87 with Jordan not on the floor. And that right there is a moment where Scottie Pippen, give him his credit, his due, for coming up big as a rookie in his first playoff start. Now the third time turning point in this game also involved Pippen. At this time, Scottie in the fourth quarter, with only 3 minutes left with foul out with the Bulls, up by 5 points. So right now you have Michael Jordan on the floor, he's got Dave Corzine, Sam Vincent, and Pippen is out of the game.
From the line by Mark Price, he has 4. 7 on the shot clock. Sparrow way off the mark with a jumper, but Oakley gets the rebound and Jordan. Doherty clears outlets to Harper and throws it away. 12 on the shot clock.
Jordan has it knocked away by Harper.
Watch him pull up for the three.
Price with Paxson in his face hits the three-point shooting foul. Wherever it is. Sparrow from the corner. Jordan tips it no good. Oakley battles.
They got a foul.
Charles Oakley got the big rebound for Chicago, and Jordan is fouled by Price. Points in the game.
That'll be the biggest rebound of Charles Oakley's career.
Seconds to tie. Turn it over, and Doug Collins wants a timeout. Chicago calls time. They've got this game in their back pocket.
So that right there is the end of Game 5. Like I said earlier, players like Scottie Pippen, Brad Sellers, even a Horace Grant, they'd have moments of brilliance they come through with big-time plays. Let's be honest, Games 1 through 5, it was Michael Jordan 98% of the time, and the fourth quarter, it was all MJ, just take us home 23. And looking at Jordan's entire series, he averaged a staggering 45.2 points a game, second to Jerry West with the highest ever in a single series. And of course, looking at this list, MJ featured a whopping 5 different times. I mean, this guy compared to the entire league's history has more 40-point series than everyone else combined. And I want to note one thing very quickly. On that list, you have MJ's 45 versus Cleveland, but also 43 versus Boston. And those two series, impressive on different levels. As looking at the 86 series versus Boston, breaking down MJ's made field goals, 70% of his made field goals came off 0 dribbles. 21% off only 1. Now, 1988, the pie chart completely flips and shows Jordan once again a phenomenal off-ball player who could adapt to a team system with him not dominating the ball 24/7. As looking at this chart, 42.4% of Jordan's points came off 0 dribbles. 36.5% came off only 1. I mean, that right there, that's an absurd figure. Michael Jordan 88 versus Cleveland, the way he was scoring, off pin downs, backdoor cuts, screens, things that for a lot of great scorers, they simply don't do. And also one thing I do want to highlight, Michael Jordan's ISO game is completely flipped from 86 and 85. As Jordan this series, he'd ISO in the mid-range, take 1 dribble, a jab step, pump fake, then score. In all reality, it is very Melo-esque.
Down the right side to Jordan. Jordan against Harper. Jordan puts up his jumper and nails it.
What about now? Carmelo, 50 on the clock, puts it up and in.
Outside of the sideline. Ball goes inside. Jordan's turnaround right there.
We're good friends when J.R. Smith played here. Anthony turnaround shot is good.
Out front to Jordan. Jordan against Harper, 7. Jordan comes down the right side for the 8-footer. Right there.
Clock is down. Carmelo.
Also, one more thing I do want to highlight. Michael Jordan, the finisher at the rim, not just dunking. This dude, he was non-Perea. In a lot of ways, Michael Jordan, the 6'6" Kyrie Irving. And no, I'm not exaggerating.
Pippen is in there now for Chicago. And Michael Jordan.
Get Luka off that island.
Irving inside the layup. Oh!
Has helped. The home crowd has helped him. Jordan trying to warm up and somehow was able to get that thing to fall.
Irving with a series of moves and scores.
Point. Jordan trying to do it all by himself. He's just amazing, and he just did.
On the move, looking for 50. Off the window!
And one last thing I do want to hammer home about 88 Jordan versus the Cavaliers, his first series with Scottie. Pippen played a minor level and was great in Game 5. But to say Jordan wasn't the driving force of this team, the reason they won, that I can't get on board with that. And looking at this series, the top leading scorers, MJ, 45.2 points a game. Second leading scorer for the series, Mark Price, 21. Third, Harper, 18. Fourth, Nance, 17. Doherty, 15.8. And then Mike Sanders, 12.8. Out of the top 6 scorers in this series, 5 of them were the Cavaliers. One of them was on the Bulls, and that was Michael Jordan. Having a player carry a team that much, we have not seen that since Jordan in 1988. And looking at MJ's play in the fourth quarter, that's where Jordan quite literally put the team on his back. As in the fourth versus Cavaliers, 12.0 points per game, 1.8 assists on phenomenal splits. Those free throws, 24-25, 96%. That's ridiculous. So to say Pippen saved Jordan, especially in this series, makes absolutely no sense and is a downright lie.
You sit on a throne of lies.
So looking past Cleveland finally, next up, we have the Bad Boy Pistons in round 2. In Chicago versus Detroit at this point, this was a bitter rivalry that dated back to 1985. As of course Isaiah in 85 in Jordan's first All-Star game infamously froze him out and kind of snubbed him. Also in 85, Bill Laimbeer, a vicious foul on MJ in Chicago that Jordan never forgot. Fast forward to 88, also Rick Mahorn got in a fight with the entire Bulls team, as well as Doug Collins. I mean, these two teams, before Game 1 even started, they despised each other. Jordan, 88 versus the Pistons, up to this point, he was simply on fire in the playoffs. But in this second round series, the Pistons just showed MJ you can't do it by yourself. As Jordan in the series only averaged 27 points per game, at that point, the lowest of his entire career. And the strategy was quite simple. Stop Michael Jordan at all costs. Forget about Pippen, Sam Vincent, Charles Oakley, put those guys to the side. The one guy you had to stop is Michael Jordan. And that strategy worked to absolute perfection in 1988.
We still double team Jordan every time he touched the basketball. We rotated to Sam Vincent as opposed to leaving him open the other night. We'd rather have Sam beat us than Michael beat us because we know that he can beat us.
That really was significant too, Zeke. You held Michael Jordan to only 20 shot attempts today.
Like I said, we double teamed him every time, and he's smart enough basketball player that he passes the basketball whenever he's double teamed, and the guys just weren't hitting their shots. The other night they made those shots. Tonight they wasn't hitting those shots.
So the strategy right there, it seems pretty straightforward and simple. Stop Jordan, you stop the Bulls. And looking at Game 1, pretty much did just that, as MJ in the first half managed 7 points on 1 of 6 shooting. For Jordan at this point, that is an abysmal first half. Now, the second half did get it cooking, had 22 points on really good shooting. And fast forward to the fourth quarter, MJ in the fourth, did everything he could. The Bulls in this game in the fourth quarter made a minor comeback, as MJ had 6 points off the bat, just like that. So at this point, a 7-point game, anyone's game. After that moment, the Bulls didn't score for nearly 5 minutes, and the Pistons went on a 10-0 run. MJ in the fourth quarter quite literally did everything for the Bulls, as out of their 16 points, all 16 came via Michael Jordan. And looking at the entire game in totality, Jordan in this matchup, 29 points, 45.5% shooting. For MJ, not spectacular. The other 4 starters combined 20 points, 8 of 35 shooting, 22.8%.
Been out here for about 10 minutes. This thing is not easy. I'm a little discouraged, but can the ball go through like this?
Like we see time and time again, versus the all-time great team Michael Jordan can do everything by himself. And looking at Game 2, finally Jordan got some great teammate help, as Sam Vincent out of nowhere in the first half scored 27 points. Sam Vincent having that explosion, it's literally out of nowhere. For the entire playoffs, only had 102 points total. So dropping 27 in this game, it's out of nowhere, it's bizarre, and an anomaly. And the first half, Vincent and Jordan, Vincent 27 points, Jordan had 12, Bulls up by 15. Jordan at that point, kind of riding the wave that is Sam Vincent. Now looking at the second half, nearly a complete inverse, as Jordan 24 points, Sam Vincent only managed 4. So that magic died out very, very quickly. And the Bulls in this game, they were up by as much as 20 points, they were dominating, they were going to cruise to a Game 2 win. But the Pistons, being the great team they were, came back ever so slightly with a very quick 10-0 run that culminated with Pippen getting hit in the face and there being no call.
Go Jordan outside left, quick drive, baseline left, in deep, shoots it up, no, tips in his own miss. Detroit within 7. Around, look, Sam Vincent in the backcourt, under heavy pressure. Up court, Grant ahead to Jordan. Michael takes it in on James Edwards, shoots it up. Playoffs with 4:07 left. Michael offers the first one in and out. The Bulls team in 1981 in the playoffs. Jordan's second shot, around and in. He's got 20. Michael against Ralph Lewis, out to the left, 10 to shoot. Jordan, wide left against Lewis. Quick drive, in for the left, lays it in. Strong move by Jordan. Bulls have it in play. Scottie Pippen, jump pass off to Vincent. Sam still way in the backcourt, throws it ahead to Grant. Here is Michael down the lane, shoots it up, bank, no, but a foul. Michael with 31 points on the night, 32. He's 6 for 7 free throws. Michael Jordan offers it again right through. The Bulls back to a 10-point edge. 2:40 left. Left corner is Scottie Pippen. Scottie under pressure of Sally. Gives to Grant. Horace against Rodman. 10 to shoot. Horace in the left corner. Hands to Jordan. 6 on the clock. Jordan against Dumars. In for the left. Michael's left baseline shot. Oh! Michael Jordan puts the Bulls up by 10.
Ball game.
So that right there, that's typical MJ magic in the fourth quarter, giving the Bulls a very close victory. Now Detroit in games 3 and 4, and they must have took things very, very personally, as Detroit at this point, they did not lose games at home, and the Bulls beating them was a major shock to their system. As looking at games 3 and game 4, MJ in the first half was not great. Game 3, 12 points, subpar shooting, didn't score his first basket till 5:30 second quarter, with the Bulls down by 20. Game 4, also not great stuff. MJ in the first half, 10 points on 11 shots. At that point, the Pistons up by 10 points, and eventually 15, 20, so on, so on. The common through line in the Cleveland series and the Detroit series is Chicago's slow starts, their bad first quarters, and its awful first halves. And if MJ isn't playing lights out, isn't getting some random Sam Vincent or Pippen game, the Bulls simply have zero chance. It's safe to say the Bulls at this point, they've been punked not once but twice on their home floor. And that for the NBA back in the 80s, kind of the natural progression of the Eastern Conference, as for the longest time the Celtics had the exact same thing the Pistons. Now Detroit paying it forward, doing the Jordan and the Bulls for a number of seasons. And I want to make one thing very clear. The Pistons, yes, were a dirty team, tons of antics, just things that went outside the lines. Even with that being said, their actual basketball play, they were a great defensive team, as was offensive team. It wasn't always cheap shots, always fighting. 98% of the time, it was just great basketball on both ends.
Jordan over 4 players, and Sally came away with it. That was kicked by Dumars, but no call. Had eyes in the back of his head. Made the pass to Lane Beard, and Johnson to Lane Beard.
Nice touch pass over to Brad Sellers. Good move for Game 3 of that series from Reunion Arena. Rodman and Collins wanted a foul called on Dennis Rodman. Didn't get it. Doug is on the sideline pleading his case.
Nice.
Yeah, oh, what a dish. Watch the defense.
We have Joe Dumars chasing Jordan here now. This looks like a little bit of a dance, all right? But you notice how hard Jordan was working.
Here comes Michael Jordan with Pippen. Oh! Look at the block by Rodman. No foul call.
Screen, Dumars and Jordan. There's your one pick for him. Here he comes off the ball. Now watch how they follow. He's chasing and chasing and chasing.
So watching that great Pistons defense, the one thing I noticed a lot, their great defense would feed in their offense time and time again, whether it be rebounds, forced turnovers, or long misses. The Pistons' offense in transition was downright elite, and one of their underrated traits was great passing and unselfish play. Detroit on both ends, they were a great team. Did they have numerous all-stars? Of course they did. Isaiah, Lambeer, Dantley, so on and so on. They had all-star talent, but played basketball under a team umbrella. And one player I was blown away by was actually Bill Lambeer. Lambeer in this series, not just a great rebounder, but a great outside shooter. Whether it be pick and roll, spot ups, transition shots, Lambeer's outside game was top notch. And in games 1 and 5, he had some big time clutch shots on the perimeter. For the 1980s, Bill Lambeer was actually a stretch 5 who could shoot jump shots. Were they threes? Not in this era. If you play today, they certainly would be. And looking at Game 5 in Detroit, Lambeer's jumpers, again, just raining them down from outside in the 1980s.
Stop! He's already dead!
Now, that Game 5 right there, Chicago, of course, they lost that game, they lost the series, their season was over. But looking at Jordan this playoff run, the question I have to ask, was the Bulls losing, was it due to Jordan and his poor play? I think any sane person would answer that question with an emphatic no. As looking at Jordan in this playoff run, total points, 363. The Bulls starters outside of Jordan, 362 on 40.7% shooting. If you want to knock Jordan for losing this series, go ahead and do it. But make one thing very clear. The Bulls losing wasn't because of Jordan. That's a big time distinction. Jordan 85, 86, 87, and 88, he was losing. But his team losing wasn't because of him and his individual play. Big time distinction. And looking at Jordan's opponents, not just individual matchups, the teams he was playing, all of these teams were great defensive teams. The Pistons, 2nd defensive rating. Cavaliers, 5th. Celtics, 9th, 1st. Milwaukee, 2nd. Opponents' points per game. Pistons, 3rd. Cavs, 2nd. Celtics twice, and then Bucks again, all top 5. The teams Jordan was playing, they were great defensive teams, led by great defensive players, whether it be DJ, Moncrief, Dumars, or Ron Harper. And if you want to look through league history, I don't think any player before Jordan or since Jordan carried the offensive burden in the fourth quarter of MJ. As looking at 88 Jordan in the fourth quarter / OT, averaged a staggering 10.0 points per game. And looking at the bottom half of this list, you have Kobe, Jordan, Kobe again, as well as Jordan. Those two guys are the only players ever to average at least 9 points in the fourth quarter in multiple playoff runs. And of course, Jordan 88 in the top 4 at 10.0 points per game. And looking at that top 4 very quickly, here's the distinction. Michael Jordan 88, 10 points on a percentage of 52.9%. Brunson 24, 41.1%. LeBron 06, 45.5%. Within Dirk 2011, 50.4%. What did that show us? 88 Jordan in the fourth quarters, not only a high volume scorer, but efficiency-wise, the best player of all time on the same tier as 2011 Dirk, one of the most clutch players of all time. So that right there is the end of the video, and the entire summary of Michael Jordan in the 88 playoffs. Hopefully some of the stuff now you do know, some narratives are debunked, other things brought to light, and all in all, just have a better understanding of 88 Jordan, what he accomplished, didn't accomplish, and how good his team was around him. As always, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.